Recently, Stripe handed Claude Fable 5 a migration across 50 million lines of code. It was a project estimated to take a human team 2 months. Fable 5 finished the entire job in a single day. Fable 5 executes long-horizon autonomous work, multi-stage projects that can run unattended for hours or days at a time to reach a complex goal. To deploy it today, you need an active Pro, Max, or Team subscription, access via the Anthropic API or Claude Code, and a codebase large enough to actually require this level of engineering power. Fable acts as an automated engineering team, but to get that level of output, you have to build a specific architecture to command it. Fable's deep reasoning comes at a premium. If you use unstructured prompts for simple brainstorming, you will burn through your token budget without making meaningful progress. This bar chart compares the cost of a single planning pass. Reading 200,000 tokens and writing 40,000 costs about 80 cents on Sonnet, but that exact same volume costs $4 on Fable. It is exactly 5 times the price. To manage costs, isolate your planning phase. Use Opus 4.8 or Sonnet to write a rigid, uncompromising implementation spec instead of having Fable figure it out from scratch. Your spec must define the overarching goal, tight constraints, the required file structure, edge cases, and a specific definition of done so the agent never has to guess. Once the plan is ready, you need to configure your technical setup. When you are uploading large code bases, prompt caching is mandatory to prevent massive financial burn on your input tokens. As shown in this code snippet, you must specifically set your cache control to ephemeral for your large context blocks. This setup ensures you only pay for the full codebase once per session, rather than on every single request. You should also store your project's conventions in a static claude.md file. Every instruction the model can read from a file is a token you don't have to pay for in your prompt. Combining cheap model planning with context caching makes these high-horizon projects financially sustainable for any team. With the plan and the budget secured, switch your active model to Fable 5. This is the omniscient handoff. Load the entire plan, codebase, and documentation into the 1 million token window immediately. Fable performs best when it can see the entire board at once before it begins. Give Fable its master command. Execute the generated plan end-to-end, write tests for every stage, delegate to sub-agents where necessary, and flag ambiguities instead of guessing. Novice users often fail here by trying to babysit the model. If you are manually intervening to check every file, you aren't using the model's agentic strengths. Instead, use the goal command in the terminal. Simply type /goal, all tests in tests pass, lint is clean, and the app builds with absolutely no errors. This diagram shows the logic behind that command. A separate evaluator model checks the output of the agent writing the code. If the tests fail, the evaluator sends it back for a rewrite. If they pass, the task moves forward. Binding the model to a mathematically verifiable finish line is what turns an AI assistant into a relentless worker that finishes the job. There is one major operational risk. Fable 5 uses a very strict safety filter that can halt borderline engineering requests. Deep debugging or security research tasks can very often trigger false positive blocks, stopping your task entirely before it's done. These refusals do not register as system errors. Anthropic returns them as standard, successful API responses, meaning your script might think it finished normally when it actually just gave up. You have to monitor the stop reason parameter. As this logic tree shows, if it hits refusal, your pipeline must automatically reroute the prompt to Opus 4.8. This saves money because Anthropic doesn't bill premium rates for refused Fable queries, so the fallback only costs the secondary model's price. This provides the resilience needed for a pipeline to run unattended overnight without being derailed by a single false positive. Routing around these filters is the final step in building an automation pipeline that remains active until the task is completely finished. When the work is done, review the finished output, the diffs, logs, and test results. Don't worry about how the agent got there. Focus on whether the code meets the spec. For corporate users, note this 30-day data retention policy. Fable does not currently offer a zero retention option, which is a critical detail for some data security requirements. Also, remember that the free 50% usage window closes on July 7th. Mastering this specific pipeline is the difference between babysitting a chatbot and winning a full-scale automated migration. It turns weeks of manual labor into a single afternoon of execution.